Welcome to the Construction Brothers Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Campbell, and with me, like he is every week, my brother, Eddie Campbell.
What's up, Tyler?
Not much, Eddie. Well, this week we are talking about promoting the trades. All right. There is a layer of green across Georgia right now. If you live in Georgia, you know what I'm talking about.
Greenish yellow.
It's a greenish yellow. My white truck is now green. It looks like one of those Forest Service trucks, you know, that go away green color.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like a Forest Service truck right now. And I freaking hate it, y'all. It's pollen. It's here, and it's loud, and it's in charge. And oh, my sweet Lord, where's my Allegra?
Well, and in a twist of irony, Andrew comes in and he's like, hey, guess what? So you're in New York. Like, what's your news?
What's going on up there, man?
So there's no pollen up here, but I'm looking out my window and I see almost about a foot of snow. So our first big snowstorm. So I'm in the complete opposite.
I would take that. I would take that in a heartbeat. My allergies would take that in a heartbeat.
My kids straight up told me that they were going to try to go swimming today.
Are you serious?
Yes. They plan on getting in the pool today.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I wish.
Are you going to do an ice, like a cold plunge
No.
or something? Okay.
No, I'm not doing the cold plunge. And I saw this guy on TikTok. He was the Iceman or whatever. And he goes into the, I don't know if you've seen him. He jumps into like the ice water. I'm like,
is it Wim Hof? Is that his name?
Sounds about right. He does these crazy things and stunts, and I don't know how he does it.
Dude, okay. So I think I know you're talking about, kind of older guys, got like grayish beard,
Yes.
you know? And yeah, this guy is insane. All right. Like takes off his shoes, strips down to his skivvies and walks up a mountain. And I don't know. I'm not that guy. So I'm not going to do that.
The secret of this guy is he's either 35 or he's 95. One of the two. Like he's either been like really well preserved through these ice baths or it's just aging him insanely. I don't know. I mean, there's something going on. I don't know.
Don't know what the secret is.
It's ice, apparently, man. So
I guess so. Keeps you young.
Just got to go out and just dive into the snow after this, and it'll just kind of, just help.
Right after this podcast.
Right after it. Please take a video.
Yes.
I would love to see it. All right. So, Andrew, we brought you here to talk about promoting the trades. You have been absolutely slaying it on LinkedIn lately and posting just a ton of really cool stuff. And I just felt like it'd be fun to have you here and chat about what you're up to. And, let's start at the beginning. Like, tell us a little bit about you, and then like, how did you start in the industry? How did that happen?
Yeah. So to give everybody context of how I started in the industry, really, I'll take you back to September 11th, 2001. I was living in New York City at the time. I was 23 years old, and planes had just hit the building. And I got this crazy idea with my friend that we're going to go down to the Trade Center and help. And he was in Rhode Island at the time, and I had him come in after some conversations back and forth. And he showed up at my doorstep in a massive blue truck with an American flag on the back. And he's dressed in overalls like a tradesperson. And he had a separate pair of overalls and a hard hat for myself. We hop in his van, and this is only a couple of days after September 11th. And we race down the West Side Highway, going from checkpoint to checkpoint to checkpoint. Don't ask me how we actually got to the checkpoints, but we got there. We parked the car, and I found myself now on the Trade Center where it once stood. And I was helping tradespeople and emergency workers find survivors the entire day. And I was watching the tradespeople on site run into unstable structures, glass falling, people screaming. They were using any means necessary to find survivors. They had no protection on, no PPE on. And I came away, you talk about trajectory changes in people's careers and life, and that was one of them. And I came out of that situation and I couldn't sleep for weeks. And I kept saying to myself, how do I give back to the tradespeople on site that gave so much that day and throughout history? I was working in IT on Wall Street, had a good job, quit my job, put my 2 weeks notice in. And for a couple months, literally, I was scratching my head trying to figure out what I could do to get back to the skilled trades. And that's where I co-founded an online tool and equipment business named ToolFetch with my brother about 22 years ago. We're still going strong today. We still love the business. We sell tools to the skilled trades, so professionals such as welders, electricians, plumbers, and other blue-collar trades. So these are the men and women who are building and repairing our infrastructure, our bridges, our tunnels, and our roads. And we reach them by offering one of the largest online tool and equipment catalogs with 1 million different products from 650 different vendors. So products like lifts, cement mixers, drain cleaners, harnesses, and stuff like that. That is my way to give back to the skilled trades that I saw 22, 23 years ago when I was on site. And I've been behind the scenes supporting them in the trades and listening to their stories and listening to the issues with the skilled trades gap and wages and not having a voice. And I just got fed up. I was just like, I have, 20 plus years of all this knowledge. And I was like, man, I need to put something out there. And that's when my journey started really on LinkedIn in September of 2022, where I just started posting videos. And a couple of videos in, hit a viral post. And I really found not at the time, it was vanity metrics. You have a post that goes viral, but what came out of that was I didn't realize how many people were on LinkedIn in the skilled trades and how many people almost came out of the woodworks. And from that point on, I just started pounding videos out every single day to make a commitment to give back to the skilled trades and just become more of a beacon or a voice for the skilled trades. And that's really my journey. And that's how I started.
That's amazing. Dude, so it's easy to see people posting online and seeing like kind of an ulterior motive of like a promotional aspect to it. And when I watch your stuff, that's never really what I see. So I'm glad you clarified like why you started doing this, because it doesn't feel promotional. There's just this I don't know, man. You have this energy about you that's like, no, we're gonna fix this thing, and you're passionate about it. And I don't know. I see why you had a viral post within the first couple weeks, because people pick up on that. People love that. And if you were promotional, then you wouldn't have gone very far.
Exactly. And people ask me and they say, well, I don't really know what you do. And I'm like, okay, if you want to check out my profile, and there are times that I drop certain things about what I do in some of my posts, but it's all about the messaging about the skilled trades. And like I said, it's relational to what I do. And it's just really kind of giving back to what I saw on 9/11. It's just been this pursuit over 20 years.
How's that changed in 20 years? Because this is at a fever pitch now. How's that changed over that duration?
As far as what I'm seeing in the skilled trades, or
that skilled trades gap is like all that people seem to talk about these days. But you've been doing this since before it was cool. So how have you seen that change happen?
Yeah, it was 20 years ago. Obviously, no one was posting online like they did today. There's no real social media, right? So there was no way to get that messaging out per se. Maybe you put an article out of some sort and it got picked up, but it's evolved into now more social media where it's put out there. The message is put out there, and you're really connecting with other people who are feeling the same way that others are feeling. And and you guys probably know, 40% over the next 5 or 10 years are retiring, whether it's the 60 plus year old plumber or it's the electrician. And there's no transition to the younger generation. Not as many are coming into the skilled trades, and really creek. I always say it, or kind of SOL unless we plug the skilled trades gap. And I always say that you're going to see $100+ an hour that a plumber or electrician will get, and they can pick and choose the jobs that they want. And it's not too far-fetched with given what the marketplace is going to be like in the next handful of years.
That statistic, the 40% over the next 10 years, is something that I currently have on my website. And because it's serious. Like, if we don't start acting now, we're going to be in trouble. if we don't all kind of band together and say, all right, we gotta come up with ways of doing this. I don't know. I don't know about you, but it feels like over the past 5-ish years, it's just been a lot of chatter. Like it's just been a lot of talk. You go to a conference and you hear people say, well, there's a labor shortage. Oh, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to, but nobody's actually coming out with any, I mean, there are, but solutions for that. And so that's been my mission is like, all right, not just be talking, but like really trying to solve that, like really trying to dial in on it. So, yeah, the 40% over the next 10 years is huge. And we can't ignore that statistic. And even the demand that we have right now is, was it close to 600,000 new people are needed over 2023, 600,000 new people on top of normal hiring are needed in our industry
this year.
Yeah, to keep up with demand. That's not just going to happen, right? We're not just going to stumble our way into solving this issue. It's going to take some intentionality, and that seems to be what you promote is just being intentional with bringing people into the industry. Am I right?
Yeah, look, it's about changing the narrative, right? So where does it start? It starts with kids, and where, at what age, middle school, high school, what information are kids getting? Where are they getting their information? Most of the time, it's through their own household. It's their parents. What's spoken in the house of either go to college or maybe do some type of trade or some other type of work. It always comes back to what's being spoken in the house. And that's where we're trying to change that narrative, that when a parent speaks to one of their kids, it's not that, well, if you do bad in school, you're going to end up in the skilled trades. It's not like that. You can't say that it's dirty and it's not, if you don't succeed, you're going to fall into the skilled trades. That narrative has to change, where parents just need to have updated information of what the possibilities are and what path that you can actually take. And then it also, in schools too, you're sitting down with your guidance counselor. What are they doing? They're trying to push you into college. I always say that colleges and universities are the best marketers because they have free referrals by parents and guidance counselors and teachers. They're pushing the same narrative. And if you go the college route, look, that's great. I did it. And I can tell you that I was more lost coming out of school than when I was in school. I knew what the hell I wanted to do. I've switched majors and didn't know what I wanted to do. And it was a lot of money. But going back to the messaging, it really starts with parents and schools and teachers.
We need a pipeline formed to start, pushing 600,000 new skilled people. Yeah. And mind you, that's skilled. That's not new people entering the industry. These are people that are good at what they do, experienced at what they do. We have quite a gap to cover. So we get that messaging kick-started with the parents, and I know like your content is part of doing that. Our content's part of doing that. Like, let's make construction a cool and good thing to do with your life and make these careers that are a viable choice for the people that are coming out of schools now. What other things do you see that are helpful to create that pipeline, to create kind of that, I want to go do that with my life? Like, what do you see inspiring people?
Well, for instance, if I'm a kid, and I'm just using an example here, and I'm at a trades fair, who's going to be at the trades fair? It's going to be colleges and some companies. If I don't see a construction company there and they're not in front of kids displaying what you can do with your hands, and if you have some sort of mechanical capability, you found that you can work with your hands well, then you're going to miss that opportunity where their kid is really interested and he's thinking about college, but he walks by the booth of a construction company and they start off a conversation. I think companies need to be, especially construction companies, need to be a little bit more intentional of showing kids what you can do and what you're building can help people. So for instance, if you're building schools or buildings, you're creating jobs. If you're building a school, obviously kids will go to school and get an education. If you build a bridge, people can go over it. You can show kids what they can do with their hands, and giving them sort of the bigger picture, and also showing them what it looks like for success. It's not just a guy on a job site with a wheelbarrow, right? That's not what it is. You can work your way up throughout the ranks, maybe own your own business one day, possibly, that you can aspire to that. And then also just mentorship and just attaching with somebody who has been there and done that and can talk about that path into success. So it's a combination of a few different things.
Have you seen any sort of mentorship programs, or even like shout out? Do you have any construction companies that are doing this well that we could look at and say, hey, they're doing this great. Let's go try to ask them some more questions and try to repeat this process across the board. And maybe that could be a way that we could help, the rising tide to raise all ships.
Yeah. An example of a company per se, I can't say, but I know that there are companies who are trying to do this. I think they understand they're trying to retain employees who are already there, but also they're trying to get newbies into the field, and they need to create the training and the mentorship and the path and the ladder to success for somebody. Because if you don't see that, if a kid doesn't see that, they're out. But it's not also about wages and money. There's more to it. There's core values and a mission with the company. So it's a combination of things that have to be displayed to the younger generation. It's just a very different culture right now. It's just the way things are versus 10, 20 years ago. So try different things to get kids interested.
We used to rely on just kind of the word of mouth, the brute force, just the reputation of the industry to get people here. Like we used to kind of rely on that. Like people would intentionally go to it, but it feels like more and more people are just tripping their way into the industry. And that's not a good repeatable process. That's not going to help us really fix the issue, right? Like, Eddie, you fell into the industry.
I did.
I fell into the industry. Andrew, it seems like you kind of fell into the industry as well, I mean, it feels like most people that I talk to they didn't go to school to, go into construction, or they didn't start in, the field to be in construction. They just kind of tripped their way into it. And I feel like producing that pipeline, producing that funnel for individual contractors to pump kids into and help them have a path forward, kind of like what you were saying. It's like we need to have the ladder kind of established so that they know which next rung there is, and that they can just look at that and say, hey, yeah, here's where I'm going with my life. I feel like college has done a very good job of saying like, hey, yeah, here are the steps that you're going to take after you come out of school. If you go into this career path. And so it doesn't sound like you're downplaying college and saying like, well, that's just crap. It's you're saying like, yeah, there's another way here. So I'm curious though, because you have kids, right?
Yes, I'm kids.
Yeah. All right. So how are you guiding them through this process of decision-making process between college or the trades? Like, what are some of the things that you're telling them? Maybe I can give some ideas to some of the parents out there. That'd be interesting.
So my son wants to be a soccer player.
Nice.
That's what he wants to be. That's every 9-year-old's goal. I want to be an athlete. And I said, well, what's your plan B? He looked at me like, it's a plan B. And then we had the conversation about the trades, and he can build things. I could see him with Legos, and I fix things around the house, and he's interested. And you could see that he's good with his hands. So having the conversation, I've had conversations with him about talking about the trades, what a plumber is, what an electrician is, what a welder is, and possibly going into that path. The college, he's too young to really kind of have that real sit down or that discussion. But I don't feel, I would support him whatever way he wants to do, whether he wants to go into college or if he wants to do the trades or he wants to do something else, and I'll stand behind him 100%. But just giving him all the facts of what college is about, and doesn't necessarily set you up for success. I know a ton of people, especially friends, who have gone to a 4-year college, got a degree, and they came out and they did something completely different. They were in law school and spent all this money and it wasn't for them. And they shifted completely. And you lost a good amount of time, and you've spent a lot of money where possibly you could have gone into trade school and worked as a apprentice and made money, and you would have been more of ahead of the game, and you would have had a skill that would never leave you. I am not downplaying college only because I've been to college and I know what it's about, but kids need to understand before they sign on that dotted line and you're about to take on, let's just say, a couple $100,000 of debt. Think about it first. How are you going to make that money back when you come out of school? How much invested time am I going to be in this field before I can start making money? And then look at the other options like a trade school and a trades path. You just need to weigh it out and see what's best for you. But getting the right information to them is the most important piece.
This is at a fever pitch, I feel like, in our home, because I mean we've got somebody that's a junior in high school, and so it's really it's a deal. Like the guidance counselor is very much in your ear during that period of time and presenting options. I listened to
college options.
Mainly college options, and it's interesting. Yeah. I listened to, I'd say, a set of about 30 high school seniors at one of the events we had at the high school here, and the seniors get to get on stage and sound off like what they're going to do. And the career paths were so homogenous. The career paths were just one after another. Nurse, anesthetist. I can't say the word. I wouldn't be a very good one, apparently, because I couldn't come in with any confidence and say I am this. But anyway,
an anesthesiologist. Let me just kind of help clarify that.
No. And a nurse anesthetist. It is somebody.
Okay.
That's not that. That would be a little bit different. But what happens is when the career opportunities are presented, the kids are in that class that they're saying, okay, you need to look at colleges, you need to look at career path, you need to figure out what you want to do. And they say, and here's what that career makes. They Google it. They all Google the same thing and they all find the same, like, oh, that makes this much. So they go, and they might throw in for a little variety, traveling nurse anesthetist, because that made a little more. It's like, why would you target a traveling nurse anesthetist? I can't say it.
You can't say that.
I can't, word. But it was.
We know what you mean.
We got you.
Point taken. Y'all can rip on me. Feel free. I knew when I was coming in, I was like, you're not going to say it right though, Eddie, and it's going to be bad. And I just went anyway. So I get everything that's coming.
That's what editing's for.
That's maybe.
No.
Our editor has a sense of humor. And he will probably let it rip.
Oh, he's going to let it rip.
I know.
I'll make sure of that.
Thanks for that, Tyler, editor. Okay, so I think that there is an element of this that, all right, we've got some supply and demand going on. 600,000 jobs are going to be out there. Like, we have a requirement of that. Wages should go up, and wages have been going up. Getting that stuff posted, I mean, I hate to be the capitalist that's like, hey, you might want to look at the money, but we do. I mean, the kids look at the money. When they're choosing these career paths, they're looking at the money. They're looking at, like, what does this look like for me? And so you're going to look like, what kind of time off am I getting? What kind of benefits might I expect? What kind of things do I have to do? What kind of life is this? Is it dangerous? How much money do I make? And getting that in front of people, like, we are in a phase in construction where people are really trying to drive for more of a benefit for being in skilled trades.
I would argue though that, all right, so you have that layer, like that's your first layer. That's your first, like, let's get their attention by showing them the money, right? But there's a bigger problem behind the scenes, right? And that's ultimately, what is the job really like? When I get out on site, am I going to be treated like crap? Because eventually what's going to happen is that person that was really, their interest was really piqued by the money, they come in and they're like, good Lord, man, this is no way to live. Like, if we're treating each other like, if we're treating each other like crap, we're going to churn and we're going to have a bigger problem too. Right? So like you got to understand that there's a level there.
I think that's a 28-year-old's thought process, not an 18-year-old's. I think at 28, we are asking that, but at 18, I think there's a different thing we're asking. It's, are people going to look down on me if I have this career? Yeah. Like, will that look like success if I go do it? And that's what we're trying to create, is this does look like success. This can. Like this could look like a very successful life if you do this well. Like plumber could be an amazing thing. You could be a very successful plumber. Very.
Kids want instant gratification. Kids want to make money today. They don't want to work hard for it. This is going to take me 10 years. I'll go into something in technology, AI, or maybe I'll build a YouTube channel and make AdSense off of it. Like they have this. I just think maybe it's a generational thing. But I agree with you, and I have this list on my wall about how much you make as a welder, and I have it up there, and I made a couple videos off of it. But yeah, I do think they hyper focus on the wages and how long is that going to take for me, and how much time and investment do I need to put into this? And they look at these options of, hey, look, it's not going to take me that much time to do something social media based, and I don't want to get my hands dirty, and I don't want to do that. It's just a part of the narrative that just needs to change out there. And I know it kind of sounds like a broken record, but it's just constant pounding of that message of people getting together, like what you're doing in your podcast and other podcasts, and what I'm doing, and everybody is slowly chipping away at changing this narrative. I think it's better than it was prior because of the social media. It's easy for us to put out the videos and information out quickly, as opposed to years back. We just couldn't do that. But I think it's just a collaboration between all of us working together, just pushing that message out.
We've got to drive that into the high school level, though, because the burr in my saddle is, when I'm talking to your son and he's talking about all of the guidance counselors saying, like, the only thing they're asking is, what colleges have you applied to? What colleges are you going to? What's going to be your major? What college are you going to? What college are you going to? And that's all the noise. And it's their success is based off of placement into college. That's what their success metrics are. So we as an industry have to approach this and say, that's not the only way to be successful in life. Like, we've driven this home, and I'm with you, Andrew. Like, I think I made a post about the same thing, where it's like colleges are insanely good at marketing. And they have driven this point home over the span of 60 years. And it's just gotten more and more potent to a point where people just feel like the only way I'm going to be successful is by going to college. And then they've also pushed it into high schools. And they've brainwashed a generation into thinking that that's the only way to be successful. And it's just flipping not. There's so many opportunities out there. And I'm a result of this. Right? I never went to college. Hey, I'm the weird one. It's me. I never went to college. That's the reason why this matters to me specifically, is I see what the industry gave me. I see that the industry gave me a ton in return for the investment that I gave to it. I learned how to run a business while I was in the industry. I learned how to manage projects in the industry. I learned how to deal with people while I was in the industry. I learned public speaking as a result of the industry. This podcast, this whole platform, the industry has given me so much. And I want other people to see that there's just an abundance of opportunity. Like, if you go into a skilled trade, if you go become a welder, like you said, it's not going away. You have that. And that knowledge is going to come with just so many other little lessons that you can apply. If you decide to go to college after going to trade school, good on you. Great. But I feel like you're making a more evaluated and specific decision for you at that point. Instead of just pressuring these kids at 18 to just go. Just go. Don't think. Just go. Go sign on the dotted line. Take these loans out. You'll figure it out. Like, good grief, man. You're right. We got to change the narrative. Okay. Soapbox.
What happened to all the shop classes? So you used to take shop years back, and if you're mechanically inclined and you're good with your hands, if you're taking a shop class, it might get you interested in the trades. That's not there anymore. I don't remember taking a shop class in school, and if there was, maybe the narrative for me would have changed. So I think reinforcing and bringing back those shop classes into school not only will help you, obviously, a kid getting interested in the trade, but also just learning the skills that you can take home with you and fix things around the house.
We got a chance to do a little roofing project on the back porch, maybe 500 square foot of roof. It was pretty cool to watch the kids get into it. And then even more cool to watch the walkaway. And that walkaway was kind of a, hey, we did that. And cool moment was after that walkaway, having my 13-year-old come back to me and say, hey, thanks for letting me help. And I was like, that's all I wanted. Like, I wanted you there with me. Now, why did I know how to roof? Well, because our dad had us out on a roof and taught us and put our hands in it. I know that that's not the lineage of every kid. That's a rich lineage that I'm appreciative of. But I can say that my time working with my hands gives me the assurance that no matter what I do, I'm never unable to pick up a set of pliers and go tie rebar. I'm never unable to go work a shovel. I can frame and plumb and do basic things in electric. I mean, my time in remodeling, all those things, they're just comfort for me. I might not even actively do this. They're applied knowledge for what I do in BIM every day, but they're back there. If I need to go do them, and maybe I'll just want to one day, I can. It's there. It doesn't go away. So I love the takeaway. I love that end game of it, looking back, seeing what you've done, being able to do I point at that, I built that, even if you're just a little small part of building that. There are a lot of things that just feel good about doing construction work. And I think taking the kids along with you is a great way of doing it.
Yeah, the skilled trades gives you a sense of fulfillment, right? As you said, you could point over there and say, I built that building or that bridge or that tunnel and I did this. And it's just this sense of accomplishment and fulfillment that you feel. That when you finish the job, you can show people for years on end that you were a part of something really special.
You can annoy your children for years and years and years every time you pass that building.
100%. 100%.
We can't drive through Tampa without hearing about everything that our dad built. And hey, it's fun, but still.
Well,
and I still do the same thing. I'm like, hey, you see that hospital over there? Yeah, I detailed that. Oh, yeah, you see that Wawa over there? Oh, yeah, I detailed that. And it's just like all of these different things. Yeah. I'm going to be the same way. I know that.
Cincinnati's that way.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You got to go through Cincinnati, and it's not dad, it's
Pop.
It's grandpa.
Yeah, Pop.
So that's good stuff.
All right, so before we wrap and I ask you our megaphone question, just kind of curious here, because you have a massive tool collection, it seems like, in a warehouse with a bunch of toys. What is your favorite of the tools that you have in inventory right now? Is there anything special or cool that you're like, this is next level. This is pretty sweet.
Well, interesting enough, we were at the World of Concrete, and you were talking, to spark my memory, you were talking about rebar tires. Well, there, you know how you can either do it manually or you have a machine that does it. There was a robot doing it. There was a robot actually going over and walking and would tie the rebar. It was pretty spectacular. And just kind of watching sort of that development, that's a task that is backbreaking, as you know. That's just repetitive stuff. But just seeing the excitement and the tech of some of these tasks that that are backbreaking type stuff can be sort of replaced by these technologies. Not obviously everything, but some of these things. It's just exciting to see what's coming out on the technology side.
We're actively trying to race that robot. So maybe there's some plans in the background. No, we need to open that conversation again. But we raced the J-Bot, the Hilti J-Bot, the one that drills in the ceiling.
Sure.
We raced that. We want to take this one on because Eddie used to tie rebar in a previous life, and he's going to get stomped. And I want to operate the robot.
Yeah, I'm not fast. I'm not fast.
I don't really care. I just want to see you out there just
We
sweating.
just want to go play with the robot.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you through a painful experience like I did with J-Bot. Hey,
My back is not what it used to be at 24 either.
True. All right, Andrew, dude. So we ask everybody our megaphone question, which is, pretty simple, which is we gave you a megaphone for 60 seconds that the whole industry could hear. What would you want to say? What would you want to soapbox on?
So if I was sitting with a big microphone, standing on the top of my house and screaming, it would be that we have a skilled trades gap and we can't sit and be reactive. We need to be proactive, and we need to be out there discussing the benefits of getting into a trade, whether you're a plumber, electrician, or welder, or any blue collar trade, that we don't want these trades to die. And we need them more than ever. We have a C- infrastructure rating for the US. I mean, and there's not enough people to rebuild the infrastructures of bridges, tunnels, and roads. And we need kids to follow in the footsteps of the men and women who are retiring. But we need to do a better job in sharing and showing the path of success and mentorship and training for the younger generation. We just need to do a better job in our schools, teachers, guidance counselors, parents, of getting them the right information, that it's not a dirty, backbreaking, work with your hands is, it's not a lesser of going white collar or blue collar. You can be very successful in the blue collar trades. You see that. You always say, who owns that big house down the street? Oh, the guy owns a plumbing company. Really? I didn't understand that. Just getting people the right information of what success looks like in the skilled trades. And that's, for me, and my mission is to at least change one kid's way of thinking, that where he or she was thinking about college and saw my content or your content and said, you know what? College is not for me. I'm going to try this skilled trades thing. And that's a win in my book.
Heck yeah, man. Andrew, dude, thanks so much for joining us and sharing your story on what you're doing. We appreciate it. So keep it up, man. Keep preaching that good word.
I will. You know me.